श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्। शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विसजय भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तमेन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। चरणारविन्दयो। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिह बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमः। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिह बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ ह्रीं नमः शिवाय नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमः। उपस्थित दुखी परिवार के लोग, आज हम सभी लोग यहाँ पर उपस्थित हुए हैं। माता जी का जो शव रखे हुए हैं, आप सभी लोग किसी न किसी रूप में रिश्तेदार हैं और हम सब अंतिम दर्शन के लिए माता जी को देखने के लिए आए हैं। और हम सभी प्रार्थना करें, जब तक आप बैठे हुए हैं अपना अपना प्रार्थना को उस माता के प्रति दे, ताकि इनका जो आत्मा है अच्छा योनि पर जन्म होते हुए पूर्ण रूप से मोक्ष के प्रदान मिले। जो माता जी है, इनको हमने तो ये कनाडा से जाना कि ये माता जी कौन है और फिजी में इनका क्या रिश्तेदार थे, क्या काम करते थे इनका पति, और उसके जो बेटी है वो हमेशा मंदिर लाया करते थे। और जब भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया से आते थे तो आकर मंदिर पर रक्षा सूत्र को बांधने के लिए उनके मन की इच्छा बहुत थी। और जब भी हमने उनको देखा और यही महसूस करा कि हम लोग इस धरती में क्या कर्म करते हैं, क्या कर्म करना चाहिए। तो माता जी जो है, आप सभी लोग जानते हैं, उनके जब चित्र देखो यहाँ पर तो 105 ईयर्स का बर्थडे केक रखे है सामने। और हम लोग तो अभी इतने उम्र में एक दुखी आने लगते हैं और अपना कर्म को सोचते हैं, लेकिन माता जी ने अच्छा कर्म किया और अपना बेटी और बेटा लोग को अच्छा ज्ञान दिया। और जब भी मंदिर आया करते थे तो बहुत ही अच्छे बात हमेशा करते थे और हमेशा ज्ञान की ही बात उनके पास रहते थे। और किसी के बारे में कोई बात करना ऐसा कुछ भी उनके पास नहीं थे, लेकिन हमेशा प्रेम की ही बानी उनके पास थे, प्रेम के ही बोली उनके पास थे। और आज भगवान के आशीर्वाद से इतना दिन इस धरती में रहने के बाद में और अपना प्राण को पूर्ण रूप से त्यागा, और हम सब उनके प्रार्थना के लिए आए हैं। तो हम उनको बेटी जो है कुसुम बहनी उनको हमेशा बोलते हैं, और भी बहनी लोग यहाँ पर है, लेकिन कुसुम बहन जी जो है, माता जी जब भी उनको बोलते थे मंदिर ले जाने के लिए, वो प्रसाद बनाकर लेकर आ जाते थे। और जब चलने के अच्छे थे तो खूब अच्छे तरह से आते थे। फिर उनका पास एक गाड़ी टेलने वाला छोटा था, वो लेकर आ जाते थे। फिर भी अपने चल कर और भगवान के जो मूर्ति रखे उनके सामने आ जाते थे और आरती करने की इच्छा रहते थे। और हमेशा बोलते हैं कि हमें ये रक्षा सूत्र चाहिए। तो रक्षा सूत्र बांधकर वो जब भी फिर ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाते थे आते थे, तो फिर उसके मौका नहीं मिला। अब यहीं पर उनका देहांत हुआ है, तो सभी परिवार एकत्रित हुआ है। और उनके जो बेटे लोग हैं, हमने 7 दिन आगे हॉस्पिटल में इनके साथ में मिला, प्रार्थना किया। तो माता जी का उस समय भी इनका जो शरीर में ताकत थे, बहुत ही भारी ताकत थे उनके पास, लेकिन सिर्फ बिस्तर में लेटे हुए थे। तो हम सब प्रार्थना करना चाहिए है। और जो समय यहाँ पर सिर्फ 1 ही घंटे के समय है, तो हम प्रार्थना के साथ में और फिर बहन जी लोग को देंगे, ताकि उनके प्रति जो कुछ आप लोग सुनेंगे यही आशा लेकर जाए कि हम लोग का जो जीवन है एक थोड़े दिन का जीवन है, और एक प्रेम का जो भावना है, प्रेम का जो श्रद्धा हम सबके पास है। भगवान श्री कृष्ण जी अर्जुन से उपदेश में कहते हैं कि हमारे में प्रेम रहना चाहिए। अगर हमारे पास प्रेम है, एक दूसरे के लिए रिश्ता है, तो उसको अच्छी तरह से निभाओ। कुछ छोटा मोटा सभी में होते हैं, उसको त्यागते हुए और सही मार्ग में चलने के लिए कोशिश करें, ताकि जीवन थोड़े ही दिन के लिए है। हम एक ही जगह से आए हैं, भले अलग अलग है, उत्तर प्रांत के लोग, दक्षिण प्रांत के लोग या पंजाब के लोग, जहाँ पर भी लोग होते हैं सब अलग अलग प्रांत को मानते हैं। लेकिन अगर हम देखें तो हम सब मनु और शतरूपा के हंस हैं। हम सभी एक ही जगह पर आए हैं और इस मृत्यु लोक में आकर फिर अपना प्राण को त्याग देते हैं। जब तक जीवन है तब तक हम अच्छा कर्म करें, अच्छा बोली बोले, एक दूसरे के नमन करें, नमस्कार करें और मान और मर्यादा रखें। जो हम खराब कर्म करेंगे वो देने वाला फल भगवान है, वही देखते हैं हम सब क्या करते क्या नहीं करते हैं। अगर हम दूसरे की सुनकर इस कर्म को करेंगे तो अपना कर्म में भी हम नष्ट की ओर लेकर चला जाते हैं। कृष्ण जी बताते हैं कि हमारे पास प्रेम रहकर अपना जीवन को अच्छी तरह से व्यतीत करें। जो माता पिता बनते हैं, जो भाई बंधु बनते हैं, बेटी बेटा बनते हैं, बहू सास ससुर बनते हैं, तो हमारे जो रिश्ता है उसको ऐसा मजबूत रखकर इस धरती में रहकर अपना कर्म को करें। यही हम सब हिंदू धर्म को मानते हैं। तो हम सब मिलकर प्रार्थना करेंगे कि माता जी का जो आत्मा जहाँ पर भी गए होंगे, खुशी खुशी उस आत्मा को अच्छा मोक्ष प्रदान मिले और पूर्ण रूप से अच्छा योनि पर जन्म मिले उनका। ओम सहना भवतु, सहनौ गुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहे, तेजस्विनामधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहे। ईशान सर्वविद्यानां ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपतिर्ब्रह्मणोऽधिपतिर्ब्रह्मः शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो। हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम तत्सत्। अभी सिर्फ आखिरी में एक छोटा प्रार्थना रहेंगे, बाद में हम लोग फिर जो अग्नि का क्रिया है उसको करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Good afternoon, everyone. Those of you who don't know me, I'm the youngest daughter of the lady here today. This is a very, very difficult moment for me. And to stand here and to honor my best friend, my mom. Mom has dedicated her whole life to our family, supporting us. And even during difficult times, happy times, Mom was always there. No matter how old we were, Mom was there for us. I'm very fortunate that not only me, but my family, my friends, they always got blessings from my mom. And they always felt honored that we are getting a blessing from a 100-year-old. You know, always. I have very fond memories of my mom, and one of them that I'd like to share with you is that I had prepared a lovely bubble bath for her with smelly candles, and she was enjoying the bath. And I teased her. Teasingly, I said, "Mom, did you ever think you would have such luxuries in your life?" And Mom looked at me and she said, "Beta," in other words, darling, I had a very tough life. And she said, "I always prayed to God that my children do not go through this that I'm going through. And today, I truly feel that my prayers have been answered." That was my mother. That's how she felt about us. No, though Mom was very weak and fragile during her older years, she always found strength. And she was able to guide you through whatever you needed. She never stopped guiding you. She never stopped telling me. I know every now and then Mom and I would have a little argument, and I would win, and I know slowly she would say, well, you won this round, but the next round I'm going to win. I know that Mom used to say that. My mom was always very, very proud of her family, sometimes bragging about how well the grandchildren were doing and the great-grandchildren were doing. And she always took time to talk about family members that are not here with us anymore. She always tried to keep their memories alive, making sure that we knew that they will always be part of us, always. That was my mom. Mom always talked about Dad, how hard my dad worked to provide for the family. And at the end, she enjoyed a very comfortable life that my dad had provided for her and for later on in her life. Mom, I hope that I age as gracefully as you do, and I continue living my life and trying to honor you and make you very proud. And for my brothers and sisters here, you know, Mom always told me I was the favorite. I was all the favorite. And Mom also told me that when I'm gone, you are in charge of the family. You look after the family. Thank you. Thank you for coming here, and thank you for honoring my mom. Thank you. Bye, Mom.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. My name is Naveen Maharaj, a family friend. I appeal to you people to bear with me at times because I have this dry eye syndrome, and it flares up now and then. It becomes itchy and watery. There's nothing you can do about it. I've tried to arrest. Members of the bereaved family, ladies and gentlemen. At times when there is sorrow and life seems complex, we revert to faith looking to God for guidance and solace. At the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Lord Krishna gave sermon to Arjuna, the difference between life and death, body and the living entity, the soul. He explained that there is death for everyone who is born, and every born is just destined to die. Where is there is birth, there is death, and where is there death, there is birth. When there is birth, we rejoice, and where there is death, we lament. And today, we lament the departure of Grand Lady Auntie Pati LAKHAN. Back in the late 1940s or so, our family and the LAKHAN family were residents of township of Nandi. And we had a very friendly family relationship between the two families. Occasionally, I used to visit the LAKHAN family to meet one of the LAKHAN boys, and I think it's from memory it was Vinod, late Vinod, because we were of the same age. And during these visits, I always found Auntie welcoming me with a graceful charm and kindness. Later on, our family moved to Suva, and there was very little contact after that. I did occasionally meet Uncle LAKHAN, and that was mostly on the tennis courts, playing during the tournaments in Fiji. And it was after about 70 years or so that I met Auntie again in Vancouver, and that too on her 100th birthday. And it was really great. It's a privilege to meet somebody of hitting a century. And what surprised me, what amazed me was that her graceful charm, the sharp memory was still there. She was able to recollect names of my siblings, whom she hasn't met for over 60, 70 years, names of my relatives, and at that age I was surprised that her memory was so good. It is not always that somebody lives over 100 years, and especially maintaining a reasonable health till at least the last. Our Vedas tells us through Bhagavad Gita that there are millions of living species in this planet. And of those species, the human species is superior. But the human species, life changes from one life when we leave this body. The entity, the living soul, takes on another body. But we don't know which body there is, of which species. It all depends on our karma. And karma in this life is what will determine our next life. And for Auntie living for over 100 years, we can all know that her karma in the past life would have been very good, so that she was able to live for about 106 years, and that too with very good health and memory till the end. So, knowing Auntie for what she went through and how religious she was, I'm quite sure that her karma has been good enough to give her another human life. And I wish, comfort to her family and best wishes to her soul. Thank you.
Ram Ram, सबके Namaste and good day. I will start with the Gayatri Mantra. If you are able to join me, if you can join me, please do. Om Guru Brahma, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhur Bhuswaha, Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om Bhurvasvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. I am Ramkaran, son-in-law. I'm married to wife there, Prem, and we are from Brisbane, Australia. So as we celebrate life of my mother-in-law, actually she is more like a mother to me than mother-in-law. As we celebrate her life, it reminds me of a poem that was written by Lord Tennyson. I'm sure a lot of you will remember. When King Arthur was mortally wounded and he's talking to his knight and he's saying, "The old order changeth, yielding place to new. And God himself, God fulfills himself in many ways, lest one good custom should corrupt the world. what he's really saying is that change is a divine process. We all evolve. Traditions change. Customs change. We don't want to stagnate. And our mother-in-law lived to be 105. She's left a huge vacuum in the life of our family. Every time, we just took it for granted, pick up the phone. Hello, mom, how are you? Something, acha hai beta. Even if she was in pain, she never said, I am not feeling well. So we have come to an end of an era as far as the LAKHAN family is concerned. We have closed this chapter, flick the page, we are not new. Mother-in-law would wake up very early in the morning and have a shower, get ready. We spend maybe half an hour reading her scriptures, and then would arrive at the breakfast table like she was being invited to Queen's, have a breakfast with Queen. And this was a ritual always. But I guess with the change, now we probably may not read our scriptures, but we probably turn on the YouTube and listen while we are having our breakfast. Now, I'll give you a change a little here. When you get a telephone call very early in the morning, you know it is not from Lotto. It is some sad news or something has gone wrong. And Vidya rang me up. He said, Master, Sahib, I'm going to tell you, Mom is not well, and the doctors have given her 24 to 48 hours. Well, we did the necessary, hopped on a plane, and got here on 1st of January. And Kusum came to pick us. Kusum has been doing a wonderful job, picking people from the airport, dropping her, ferrying us around to the hospital, going to the shops and making sure we are all fed properly, oftentimes getting into trouble. But Kusum, you're doing a wonderful, sterling job. God bless you. Yeah, as a mom say, you are in charge. Yeah. And she's taken it literally, but we are also here. So we got to the hospital. It's a pretty daunting, you go trepidation, you don't know how you're going to find your mother-in-law, what shape. And I thought, she was a walking, talking encyclopedia when it came to family history. You want any name, date, she will rattle it off. And I thought to myself, the doctor's given her 24 to 48 hours. I don't know what sort of time, what sort of situation she is. So I went and said, Mom, I'm Ram Karan hai. I'm Ram Karan. He said, Hum janit hai. He said, I know. And, so lucid and, sharp as a tack, holding three-way conversation. And I was thinking, why did they tell me 24 to 48 hours? But unfortunately, as it say, God fulfilled himself in many ways. And within 14 days, she succumbed, and today we have to say our final goodbye to grand old lady. I used to call her OG. And Mom, you've been so good to us. You were there when our kids were born. She would come from Matintar to Reki Reki. That freed me to do whatever, work and our kids would love to go to Matintar, spend time with, over there we had Shalini and Vinu and Geeta, and we had 3, so it was good bonding. And then of course late in 19, once my father-in-law went to heaven, she came to stay with us for some 20 plus years, and we bonded further. Now, in Western custom, mother-in-laws are not regarded, I don't see, read good things about, but my mother-in-law, she was considerate, she was generous, she was loving, caring, and I couldn't ask her anything more. of my mother-in-law, in fact the whole LAKHAN family. And I've been so proud that I was fortunate enough to find a girl, a woman, and married, and they have accepted me into the LAKHAN family with open arms. Then later on, Mom came to stay. We further improved our relationship, and she would always be there. You know, I have a couple of messages from my children, our children, not mine, but ours, both of us, and I would like to take a couple of minutes to read it, if I can find it. And this is from grandson and great-grandson, Rakesh and Nikhil and wife Andrea. Dear Nani, you have always been in our lives from the day we were born, and you will always be in our memories. We always call you lovingly Nani Pani. And we will always remember you making sure there was mithai and dal bhat, and you will be Nani Pani for us forever. It's Rakesh, Nikhil, and Andrea. And we have another one from the daughter, Priscilla. She is in Sydney. Dear Nani, I have so many wonderful memories of Nani in Nandi, Canberra, Brisbane, and then Vancouver. Nani was a very humorous person, often making wisecracks. She had her own opinions and discussed the news and things happening in the world when we lived together in Brisbane. I learnt a lot from Nani, especially the way she structured her days in Brisbane: gardening, cooking, taking care of whatever needed attention, and reading spiritual texts. I also admire her cheerfulness with me, pragmatism, calm strength, and fashion sense. Pearls and shawls are the best. People probably know Mom always had a shawl, very beautiful shawl, and that, I think Mickey Moto pearl, or it was a fake, I don't know, but it looks pretty good. Yeah. And I feel blessed she was my Nani, a strong person who kept going. We celebrate with Nani always. Love Priscilla, her nickname is Pepsi, Priscilla and Stefan. There's one little something I want to share. Mom never regarded herself old. She always, I don't think old was in her vocab. And when the authorities in Brisbane found out an aged person was, she was about 86, 87, staying with us. So they came to inspect the facilities, whether she was well catered for. And although Dani could not speak English, but she understood very carefully. She has traveled the world with father-in-law, so she was very well acquainted with English language. And they were talking and she was listening. As soon as they went, she got hold of Prem. He said, what they're saying is for old people. This is not for me. And it's true. But anyway, later on I ended up changing because I nursed her for about 2 to 3 months. And that was about in 2016 or 17. And Nani moved to Vancouver, where these two girls have spoiled her. There was nothing in the world other than Mom. Nani, mother-in-law or Mom, wherever you are, I hope you find salvation. And I will close with a prayer. Guru Re Brahma, Guru Re Vishnu, Guru Re Dev Maheshwara, Guru Re Sakshat Parabram, Tasmai Siri Guruve Nama. Please God grant her moksha. She's been a wonderful old lady. Thank you very much for coming, and good day.
Hi, Hi everyone, my name is Nicole. For those of you who don't know me, I like to think of myself as one of Nanny's honorary grandchildren, and my 3 little boys as her great-grandchildren. I have very vague memories of Nanny from the early 90s when myself and my brother Ben were little kids, always over at Kasum's making fresh roti and putting peanut butter and jam on them. I'm sure that's not traditional, but it was our favorite. All of my early memories of her are definitely accompanied with delicious food. Nanny has recently become a key part of all of our visits to Vancouver over the past 5 years. My boys aged 4, 3, and 1, I live a very busy life, always say, "Are we going to Vancouver to see Kasum and Nanny?" Nanny is very, very old, isn't she? I don't think they can fathom that there was someone on earth that was older than a number that they could count to. She was always fussing over the boys, making sure they were warm enough and making sure that I didn't put them on the cold floor to change their diaper, which I did all the time. The last time we saw Nanny was less than a month ago on December 20th. We had a beautiful Christmas dinner at Kasum's house, and we could not believe how healthy and even spry Nanny seemed. The very last time I saw her, I was helping her into Kasum's big SUV with an umbrella in the absolute torrential rain to go to Kim's 83rd birthday dinner. How awesome is it to be going to your daughter's 83rd birthday dinner? I don't think many people get to do that in their life. I asked Kasum if I was going to need to lift her into the car, but she said, no, she can do it by herself. And I watched as she did a 10-point turn with her walker and got up into the car all by herself, no help needed. I also always think about how Kasum told me that on Nanny's 101st birthday, she got a lot of phone calls from people around the world wishing her happy birthday. Kasum said she would answer the phone and say, "This is who?" and repeat the name, and Nanny would say, "Oh yes, so-and-so, that's so-and-so's second cousin twice removed, from Brisbane, friends with so-and-so, don't you remember Kasum?" And Kasum would say, "No." She was 101 and still had a memory sharp as a tack. I truly think that living to 105 is such a gift. To be living at home, thanks to the loving care of Kasum, Kim, and all of her family, is such a blessing. There's no doubt the love and care she received over the last two to three decades is what brought her and her health into such a ripe old age. That and the frequent adrenaline hit brought to her by her beloved slot machines at the casino. She's passed her love and excitement of the casino on to all of her children, and possibly me too, if truth be told. Anyway, all jokes aside, Vancouver visits will not be the same without you, Nanny. You will be loved and dearly missed forever. Thank you for all of the fond memories.
We have a little bit more time, so if there is anybody who wants to say a few words, you're more than welcome before we close the proceedings here. Anybody?
Yeah, Mariko is there.
Mariko.
Hi everyone. Hello everyone. Those of you who don't know me, I lived with Kasum Didi when I first came to Canada in 2014. I stayed with her for 9 months. I stayed with her and Nanny for 9 months. I had a wonderful time there. It was my second it's still my second home. And Nanny's my grandmother too. I live with Nanny. And I had such a good time. She was always caring. She made sure I ate. Even though I just ate, she would be like, "Eat this." I had such amazing time. And then Vancouver was the best place for me. So I decided to came back. So I came back to Vancouver in 2017. Didi had a room for me. She charged me so little for the rent, which is it's impossible now that I think back, but I had such a wonderful time living with Didi, Nani. We also had Anthony. He's not here. He's in Tanzania. But for me, they're my family in Canada. Like, I enjoyed living there. So I lived there for 4 years before I got married, and I moved away. But I just had such a wonderful time living with Didi, Nani. They took me to casino and across the border, and then I would play casino with Nani, and then like she would hit only 15 cents, but sometimes she just, fingers across, go somewhere and then bet like $1 or something. So it's like I made sure like, her fingers are stay on the 8-cent bet, but she always won money. Even though Didi and Kim lost money. She was the one who always won money, and I don't think I would have come back if I didn't stay with you guys. I had a wonderful time, and I'm just so sad that I didn't get to see Nani. I have my son in August, and it took a while for me to recover from the labor and getting used to the postpartum, and it's such a regret that Nani didn't get to see my baby Nico. But yeah, I'm just gonna tell him all the story about Nani and how I enjoyed living with you guys. And I always know that that's my second home. So if I ever need to go back to, I know I have a place. And I just wanted to say, I miss Nani so much. I didn't think she would go so early, to be honest. I thought we had more time, but yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's my turn, and I want to tell you that I'm in charge, not Kusum. She is young, the youngest, and she's a baby, so she has to listen to her elders. My name is LAKHAN. All my siblings deserted me and left me in Fiji. I still live in Suva. And I just want to cover some of the points, I think, which will maybe get you to better understand my mum. She was born in Ba, daughter of an indentured laborer. And if you don't know about indentured laborers, they were people brought in by the British to Fiji from India to work on the cane farms. And my grandfather, my mum's dad, came from India, and like maybe thousands of others, worked on the sugarcane farm for 5 years. And then they were given the opportunity to go back to India, and the British government would pay their passage, or stay back and live in Fiji as free citizens. So both my grandparents not both, but my dad's parents and my mum's father decided to stay back in Fiji. So she's a daughter of an indentured laborer. She comes from a family of 10 siblings she had, and 4 boys and 6 girls, and she's number 3 amongst the girls. Now in those days, if you're a girl, probably you'd never get a chance to go to school. You stayed home, did all the housework, and then also worked on the farms. So my mother and I would like to think that she's really very intelligent. She could read and write Hindi. English in the early days was double Dutch to her. Now, the story as told is that after my grandparents did their 5 years contract, or girmit as they call it, agreement, they decided to go back to India for a holiday. So my mom's parents and my dad's parents were on the same boat going back to India. My mom was 3 months old. My dad's mom was pregnant with my dad. The two men made a pact. If it's a boy, he will marry my daughter. So the ship left Suva, and I think 3 weeks out in the sea, Dad was born. They spent about a year in India and came back, settled in Wa, became good, prosperous cane farmers. And when the time came for them to get married, they did. They got married, I think, in 1936, from memory, or 37 or thereabouts. And that, in those days, if you get married, I don't think we knew what was divorce. You married for life. So that was my mom's story. She married at a very young age, had first child in 1938 at the age of 18. And there were 6 others who followed. 6 of us were born in Ba, and Kusum was born in Nindi. Early life for Mum in Fiji, I know there are some here who couldn't even imagine what life was like. When you, in the early days, you lived on the farm, you live in a settlement, there is no electricity, there is no running water in the house. Where I grew up, or where I was born, there was a river about 300 meters away from the house, going down the slope. And I can picture my mum with a load of washing, could be dishes, could be clothes. You go down to the riverside, do the washing. Now going down with the load is easy, because the clothes are dry. When it's wet, it's heavy. And then you have that on your head, and then you've got to climb. What else did she did? When you need firewood, you go in the hills, you cut dry trees, make a bundle, put it on your head or on your shoulders, bring them home. We were little kids and we used to go with Mom and do those things. So if you said, Mom, it was hard life at that time, no, that was the life. That's all they knew. There's no other comfort. My dad used to work in the post office, and he used to be away most of the time. So Mom's job was to bring up the children, feed them, clothe them, send them to school, and then make sure the other thing that needed to be done was taken care of. So when my dad got promoted and appointed as postmaster, his first posting was in Nandi. Life changed for Mum. You're living in government quarters. There is electricity, even though it used to be only for about 4 hours in the evenings. 11 o'clock, the electricity supply stopped. But you had electricity, you had wooden stove, you had running water, flush toilets. So it was a big change for Mum. And that's when I would like to think that life changed for her, for the better. But though changes came into her lives, her love and affection for her children and for her other family members, siblings, never ever diminished. When we all started going to school, it was becoming difficult for my father to move with the 7 of us and then go and find schools for us. So he decided that we're not going to move. He bought a piece of land in Nandi and built a house in Matintar, and that's where my mother stayed with all of us. Matintar in those days, again, didn't have water or electricity, but we had a well, and water and electricity came much later. But again, it was a much better life for Mum than what it was in Vutuni. But Mum was not an exception. That's how it was in those days in settlements. And for them, life was normal. When my dad retired from the post office, he decided to, my sister is bored and sleeping. My dad moved to Canberra. You okay? Okay. So my dad moved to Canberra, and it wasn't at the same time, but a few years later my mother joined them, and Canberra became a big change for her from Nandi. From Canberra to Brisbane, from Brisbane to Vancouver, things started to get better for her. For me, you might think I'm biased, but Mum was a very humble person. She's 105, I'm 85. So I spent a lot of time with her. And I can't recall ever hearing from anyone that my mother had an argument or a fight with anyone. Never. She was always kind, compassionate, considerate, loving, and caring. No matter who it was. I remember when we were in Nandi, government quarters, we had 2 bedrooms. And there's 9 of us, 7 kids. And then after work, my father would bring somebody to stay the night with us. Because the next morning that person was catching a flight from Nandi Airport, which was at 5 o'clock. So no questions asked. You've got to make room for him or her, feed him, give him place to sleep, and then make sure that individual gets to Nandi Airport in time to catch the flight. That continued, the trend continued when we moved to Matintar It was still the same. Our house in Martintal became like a transit station. People came for the night and left morning. She was a person who had a memory, and Naveen Maharaj related to that. We would forget things, we would ask her. She was our encyclopedia. And if we asked about Sarla, she would go back to Sarla's grandparents. How many brothers and sisters they had, how many children they had, where they are, what they're doing. That's the kind of memory she had. And she is a wonderful, wonderful person. We would like to think that she had a wonderful life. Not only think, but we know she had a wonderful life. And for that, to a very large extent, I'm grateful to my sisters, because Prema and Ramkaran had my mother in Brisbane, Australia for a number of years. And then when the decision was taken for her to move to Vancouver, Kusum and Lita, or Kim or Kamlesh, whatever you call yourself, name changes, but I would like to say publicly, and I say it on behalf of my younger brother Naveen, we couldn't have done what they did for my mum. And for that, we are grateful to three of my remaining sisters for making my mother's life comfortable. To all the family members and friends, thank you for finding time to be with us today. I know my mother must have touched your lives in some small way, and I would like to thank you for remembering her, and I hope her memories will stay with you for the rest of your lives. From here, after the cremation, we are meeting across at 2:30 for some refreshments. And then on tomorrow, we are meeting at the temple at 11:30 for prayers and for lunch. And you all are invited to be part of that. Thank you. Subramaniam Temple. You will let them know. You will let them know.
Address is 8840, number 5 road, Subramani Swami Temple.
So of course we are scheduled for cremation for 2 o'clock. I know you all want an opportunity to pay final respects, so we will need to do so in a fashion that we'll start with the back to come forward to place some petals and to say your goodbyes. We'll work our way forward. Yes, immediately following cremation, you are all invited back to Hamilton Heron Funeral Home, just across the street. We do have a large parking lot. There'll be plenty of time for camaraderie and sharing more stories of this woman's wonderful life. Thank you. I'll ask those from the back forward. Quick.
I can't afford to pay you.
So I will, with Helen, we'll be bringing mom back there, and then once we're all set, my family as well. Thank you.
I can leave it here or take it away?
You can leave it there, like bring it down, but it's
No, not bring it.
it can sit or we can without whatever. We can leave it for now.
Because that thing will go for hours.
We'll pull it out after.
Those of you who wish to remain for the cremation, we will be going to cremation immediately. Otherwise, you're welcome to make your way over to Hamilton Heron and wait for the family. They are ready to receive you.
I'll be outside of her.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just going to get ready. Please be patient. We'll be in just a few moments, and then we'll invite down family members who will be joining the formation. Those of you who wish to view, there will be an opportunity to do so. No photographs or videography at that point.
People in coming down, 10 people out.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, just the And your name is singing.
Oh, we actually asked the guy, I could come in here, I up the praise and then came around, but I just kind of stumbled my way through. I was so close, I went to the, just luckily made the right move. Jack there, I love this one. She certainly see that life, she went from like Denver to Auburn. It's amazing, actually. I thought that video was having video.
I think so, yeah.
And I tried to get off right with
Anyone else who wishes to view the cremation are welcome to go to the end of the hall at this time, and no photographs or videography at this time.
Or VID.
Oh, and they closed the door, I guess not.
Is that what's going on in there?
Yeah, well, you just see the coffin moving too. That's all I think it is.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah, so have I.
I think I've said my goodbyes.
I would like this, I would go through and didn't get
I went to the hospital when she was in the last days.
I actually, I dropped him off twice, but I never went up, so I didn't feel like, you know, of course, much better. I didn't want to.
I like to remember people when they were alive. Yeah.
Are you, how are you related to Kim? Or, oh, you were nurses.
Oh, yeah, one of the slaves of the St. Paul.
Sorry.
Oh, you're still working, good for you. Yes, where Kim was for crying out loud, yeah.
So I've had lost contact with Kim for a while. And then
Oh, that's good. Yeah, well, I've known Kim for over 40 years through skiing, but I only actually met her immediate family like within the last 2 months. Well, since she actually had the stroke, because I visited Holy Family a couple of times to see how she. Well, yeah, I went to visit her, and then I met her family, and then I actually went and visited her over when she was staying with her sisters. So I've kind of just gotten to know them lately, but they're very nice people.
I met Kim about 3 weeks after she arrived in the school.
You've known her for ages.
68.
Was that 68?
No, 69. I arrived in 68. She arrived in 69. October.
They ski. Oh yeah, they ski together.
Ski
Yeah,
together, yeah.
Years, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No.
I was, but it doesn't seem to like me.
COVID took care of it.
I was actually quite active in skiing, but it doesn't seem to like me because I know. Well, I had a really serious injury last year on my shoulder, and then this year I've got weird. There's like a tendinosis now, so which is That's right. I wrote that actually down.
Always thinking that.
It sounds like you know the place.